external distribution channels. And what I think is that this is the customer giving me new orders. And then, as we discussed, it can be anyone who has a demand. Because it's the information that you see. The water is the information that you act on. And what you build up your value so that you can inform in the end we have produced. Because that is the information. We have something to say. And then you have the analogy, atoms and molecules. We, our systems and our work groups. Heat, money and energy. Height or fall is the drop, it's the market potential. And you could say that more market potential gives more speed. Less market potential, you will get everything back on the investors very quickly. So it's pretty informative this way. Yes. And then we have mass and volume. It's the information that weight and resource intensity. So the information have volume, mass. The information mass is the amount of information. But it has heaviness in terms of the business that we do. Because we have heaviness here because we have this field of gravity in the room. Then we have the heaviness in the water. But if we have, for instance, loss of demand, of market, of needs, of heaviness, then the information will just be very heavy to carry, not any productive. So the relevance of the information will not be good. I can hire a famous surgery expert to do production of cars, and he can sit by the bank and make cars. But probably his information in his head will be a heavy load to the production of cars because he won't be sitting there for long. He will probably do what he can to escape from that place. So the information has heaviness and it has weight, depending on the demand and what's on the information. And that's the same with here. If I bring this out in outer space, the water will just be a bunch of water but no use. So it's always just for use in some special occasion. And then you have speed and pressure, and it's of course productivity and demand. The pressure here we build up is the demand. And if we have very much pressure here, that means that it comes in a lot of waters in a short amount of time. Then we have high pressure. And of course we must have the material here to take care of the pressure. And then you can understand also how we can create bottlenecks. Can somebody key up here and help? We should create a bottleneck.
Necessity is coming.
And somebody can take it out, one of these, and make an edge on the other side. So we make a bottleneck. You can take a hard one. What happens when we do a bottleneck with the pressure in? Can you see the pressure in the bottleneck? And if we let it through, then the pressure is still high in the middle. And this is a typical bottleneck. So you can see what it means. A bottleneck is just what it is. It's a shortage of resources in one part. So it's very clear, but it's also clear that the people in the bottleneck feel a very high pressure.
Hey guys, look at here.
Yeah. So you follow? And you can also see the slope we worked on.
We should meet.
And if you go downward, you can go downward. Like the creativity number, you can see for instance, if you're in, here we have choke flow, and here we have no choke flow. That means that here is a high creativity number, and in the fast speed we have also a high creativity number, which means that we can deal with fluctuations, we can work on things, we can solve problems. If we have a low creativity number, we have no problem solving abilities. We just follow our friends. And that's pretty easy to understand, and it's pretty easy to understand why we work with creativity when we need problem solving. And so you can have around a problem, you have problem solving. And we can make a very big problem, and you can see how it turns around it. And if we have choke flow, you can see we have a very special kind of problem. We impact the whole flow. And even if we use the smallest kind of disturbance, like this one, we will have impact on the flow in the choked area. So even a very small problem will affect the whole situation in the business. And the workload here will be totally different. And this is typical when you have internet inputs from demands from a lot of buyers, potential buyers on eBay, for instance. And if you have a problem somewhere, it will affect lots of deliveries then, because the people operating here cannot deal with the problems coming in. They are not trained for it, and they have no experience for it. And then we have, of course, the situation in there, in the middle, not being here and not being there. And this is the situation when you ramp up systems. Then it's slow speed. And then you ramp up, then you must pass this state where you have the same speed at errands and as on the information. And there you have a mess, because you never know what you are doing, and you are never able to communicate with somebody what you are doing in this situation. You must get past it, because then you know at least how the pattern will look like. And here you know the pattern, but here you know one for sure, and that's that you don't know the pattern. And here it's just dragging energy out of the process. But here you can also see that you can pretty easily build up a high pressure on those there, trying to solve issues. And that's like in production line in Volvo standing still, or an IT system standing still. You can get a pile of errands that nobody takes care of very quickly, that nobody can deal with. And the people here will suffer from this high pressure, because they will get ill and they will get diseased and so on, and leave the business. So from people's perspective, this is better. This is much more human when we have time to work on issues. And this must be cared by systems often, and we must treat it from outside every time. Because you don't have the possibilities to reorder yourself. You can try out for some while.
Especially the front people, like it was a bit more suited to this kind of stuff.
And you can continue to work on and think about these three processes for a while. Entire business, a project, and a support process on IT. And if this was one of them, what will this be? You can continue to work on it. And I could sell copies of it to somebody who wants while we do this.
Is there the possibility to get it on credit?
You can get a payment bill.